Oh, no. Are you there, Roberta?
Yeah. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, I see a screen here and I was kind of like going, because anyways, we're going live. Let's see, because I can't
Okay.
see right now.
I will go. I'll look on Facebook because I know how tricky that can be.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
I don't see you.
Okay.
Setting up your meeting to Facebook Live. Okay, here we
Yeah,
go.
we are on.
Hey, I see you.
Good job. Can you see me in real time? There it is.
It's actually just a couple minutes behind. Okay, this
Okay,
is weird.
that is okay. Hi, everyone. Hello, hello. Okay, so now you have to like switch back over to Zoom, the Zoom screen, or else you'll be watching a delay the whole time because I did that. So from experience.
Okay, so I'm going back.
Yeah.
Where's my screen?
And then oh, it's so crazy. Okay. There. I did that.
Are you on your Zoom screen?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm on Zoom and then it says
Oh, there we are. Okay, now I see me. I'm on my Zoom screen. Okay. Okay, so
did it.
we're just trying to get this technical stuff out of our way, because as you all know,
Right.
this is very, 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 very first Gold Givers series. So I am so excited about this, because our calling is to speak about our truths and from our own life experiences to help to share others so they can have the life that they want, desire. And I'll tell you, from where I was even 4 years ago to where I am now has completely changed. Completely. What about you, my friend Rebecca?
Same here completely. I'm just so grateful. I'm just so grateful. And you know what? It's one of those things that we can actually be grateful for the contrast, for the we could call bad things or unexpected things that happened in our lives, because we took that and we embraced it and we moved on. And here we are today. And I'm just, it's so funny how our paths met and led us to this. But I want you to kind of tell everybody, just because we were, you had interviewed me on your podcast, and then I interviewed you on my speaker series. And then we're like, okay, we can just talk and have such a good connection. And that's how this came about.
Exactly, exactly. So first of all, I want to welcome everybody to our first episode of the Gold Givers. Today, we're going to be talking about identity. And my name is Shannan Mondor, and this is my beautiful, beautiful equal partner, Roberta Campbell. And we do not even live in the same country. So I live in Alberta, Canada. And my beautiful Roberta, where do you live?
I live in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yes, and our paths have definitely come together for a very divine purpose. We know that for sure. Now, as I said, we are talking about identity, and where my identity totally changed is, well, first of all, I think we should really understand what identity is for each individual. So when you think of identity, what are the first things that you think of?
Yeah,
Just
what do I think about
the first things that you
myself?
think of when you think of your identity? Your identity to me is like, who am I?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how do I view myself in this life? How do I view myself as an individual? When I look at myself in the mirror, who do I see?
Yeah.
Right? And one thing that I really, really realized throughout my life is the identity that I carried of myself wasn't even mine. It wasn't until August 17th of 2019 was when I woke up that day. And for people that don't know my story is I was brought up in a household of addiction and abuse, and it was normalized. So all throughout my life, I was taking on the identity of what was happening within my household, which was drilled into me. And with my abuser, I was brought up and I was told, you are ugly, you are dumb, you are stupid, you are never going to be amount to anything ever. So all throughout my childhood, those were the things that I truly believed. I truly believed this my whole entire life. And then it wasn't until I got into my 20s and 30s was when, because of my upbringing, that I was starting to play out these things that were created in my subconscious mind because they were drilled in there. So that was where I became a people pleaser. I conformed to whatever anybody ever wanted me to be because I believed these things. I didn't like myself. I thought I was ugly because I was told that my entire life, right? So with that, of course, led me to a life of self-destruction. So what I started to do is I started to take on the identity of my abuser. I became that alcoholic, right? I became institutionalized. And what I mean by institutionalized was my abuser ended up going to jail. He'd been in and out of jail, right? But my institutionalization was a treatment center. That's what I took on. You know, I started to abuse the people around me, not physically, but mentally, emotionally. I did that to myself. So that was the identity that I carried. But it was not my identity. It was the identity of my abuser. Now I'm going to go even a little bit further than that. My abuser actually took on the identity of what his abuser did to him, right? And that was my father, because my father drilled that into my siblings. So this is generational, and I want you people to realize and to look back at your identity. Is that identity yours? Or is that identity something that was passed along to you? And that is drilled into your subconscious mind, which is your soul. That's what happened with me. But it wasn't until August 17th of 2019 when I woke up, and number one, that was the day I decided I was never going to touch a drop of alcohol ever again, and I have not. But that was also the day that I decided to, you know what? I am no longer going to take on this identity that was passed on to me, because I realized that wasn't me. That wasn't who I was. No way. And the reason I knew that is because I looked at my outside world and I'm thinking, holy God, what have I created here? I've created a life of addiction. I've created a life that's just messy, that was full of anger, hurt, hate. I couldn't do it anymore. Absolutely, I could not handle it anymore. Right? So that was when I decided that I was going to stop this generational curse, which is in the 4th generation on my side of the family. Because I look at my father, right? That's 1st generation. I don't know what generations were prior to that. I do not know that because I did not know my grandfather. But I looked at my father's generation. Then I looked at my generation with me and my siblings. And then the addiction has also gone into the generation of my nieces and nephews. And now it's going into that generation, which is my great nieces and nephews. But what I knew when I woke up that morning was I can't control anybody else. I can't control what's happening over there, but I sure as heck can control what's happening on within me. And then I was looking at my children and I'm like, this generation of addiction is going to stop, and it's going to stop with me. And I've got control of that because I don't want to see that generation of addiction happen within my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, right? So that was when I decided I was going to take on my new identity. And what do I mean by that, right? I was going to be strong. I was going to be confident. I was going to be a mentor. I was going to be a good friend. I was going to be a good mother, right? And those are the things that I had to come to the realization of what I wanted to be. And we'll get more into that as the conversation goes on. But that was the beginning of my journey of changing my identity, because the only person that has control of that is me. I have to change that. Yeah. And I can't blame others. You know, You know, I have to take responsibility of my actions from my past, which I have, and I have totally freed myself. But another thing that you have to do in order to change your identity is you have to start speaking your truth. You can no longer be a victim. And that's what most of us do. We want to blame others. No way. If you want to grow, you have to take responsibility for your actions in every single area of your life. There you go, Roberta.
I was just thinking that when you said that too, and you explain everything so beautifully. And because we had kind of gone through a lot of the same things. So to hear you talk about it, here's the thing. Share a few things with you guys that I don't really talk about, okay? But I will tell you, it was in 2018, and this was, what a year. Oh my goodness. That was the year. I don't have a date. I know that whole year was just a big mess, and one thing led to another, but what had led up to that point was that I was dating, I was in an abusive relationship, and I didn't want to tell anyone. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to even say that, because how did I attract that in my life? How did I allow this person to come into my life? That's not me. I kept thinking, I know somewhere inside here, there's a really good person in there. And she was out most of the time. That was me. But then part of the time was that person that just wanted, I just wanted someone. But I didn't feel like I didn't feel worthy of very much. And I ended up in this relationship that lasted, I don't know, maybe it was a year or so. So that led to 2018, when if you have to call the police on somebody, it probably was an abusive relationship. I'm just letting you know. Okay. Yeah. And it was bad. I mean, it was really scary. And somehow we let those people back in our lives because we don't think that we deserve any better. And they know the right things to say. Mm-hmm. And for a moment, I did let them back in because I was afraid. So for anyone that has been through an abusive relationship like that, domestic violence. Now, I'm going to tell you, mine was not physical. Okay. It doesn't have to be physical. It's definitely mental and verbal. Things thrown, things like that, but never hit. And I'm sorry for anyone that has been through that. I've been there, and I get it. And you can get out of that. You deserve so much better. That's what I want everyone to know. And so I had never even told anyone about this until this year. And I was giving a speech. And so I was like, I'm really saying this out loud. And because I do want people to know. I do want people to know where I was and where I am now. So for me, I didn't grow up. So here's the thing. Let me take it back to this. My dad, his father died. My dad was 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old when his father died. Now, I believe that right there changed all of our lives, because I look at would have been my grandfather's family, and everybody in that family is very well educated, and they're just very different than us. And because, my grandfather passed away, and my dad's dad, and then my dad's mom remarried, I don't know a lot. So I know she was married 2 other times, but the second marriage was not a good marriage. And that, well, I believe my dad was abused physically, and just, that he could have been an alcoholic, this guy. I don't know. So just take this for what I've heard. And so with my father being young, 3 or 4, his subconscious mind was still open. You're programmed till you're about 7 years old. So all of this, he heard all of this abuse growing up. What happens is that we think, when our subconscious minds are programmed, we think that's normal, that it should be. Now, my dad is a very good man, so I'm not saying this in any means whatsoever. He would do anything for anyone. Okay. And he actually left that home. He left his home at about the age of 10 and moved in with his grandparents. It was that bad. He had to get away from that. So I don't know the full story. I'm only telling you what I know, in case anyone's on here here's this, I know it was hard. I know it was really hard. It was very difficult on my dad. And then I was the 4th child, and I had an older brother who passed. And so my parents lost their only son, and my brother was like 4. And so it was this whole, everything that my parents, remember, everything that they go through, it's kind of carried on. And I mean, they still today, his birthday was just a week ago, and, it's difficult. You never get over that. Mm-hmm. And so, but I was the youngest. I was not born when all of this happened. I was later on, and I did not experience what my sisters did. And I don't know, because I wasn't there, and we really haven't discussed this to detail. Okay. But I just know that a lot of those things, that patterns and things that we have of our parents, that we do carry on. And even like, my mom was a stay-at-home mother and took care of us and did all the things, and I wanted to do the same thing. And, it's that type of thing. But I think, because of everything my parents have been through, especially with losing a son, it was really hard on them. And so for me, it was, I think I spent a lot of time alone. My sisters were older, spending a lot of time alone, and just really, really had no idea who I was. I was lost most of my life. And, you want to be liked. So what do? Like you said, Shannan, you become a people pleaser, and you just follow everyone else. And you're like, okay, I'll do that. I'll do this. I'll do that. I mean, there came a time as an adult, just a few years ago, that I thought, why am I listening to this type of music? I don't even like it. But I had never really thought for myself. I conformed to everyone around me, and it wasn't fair. It's not fair. It wasn't fair to me, and it wasn't fair to them, because I wasn't telling my truth, because I didn't know what that was. So this, in 2018, after that relationship, and I finally got out of that and was moving on. And then the same year, my daughter was in this bad accident. I mean, it was like one thing after the other. But if it wasn't for those things, it wouldn't have woke me up, because that woke me up. Where one day you wake up and you say, what am I doing? Who am I? And I tell people this all the time. I'm like, please don't wait. This is our mission, right, Shannan? We are here to tell people, don't wait. I'm like, don't wait until it's that you get the diagnosis of the cancer, or something happens to someone, or we don't know. The only moment that you have right now that matters is right now, today. And we're trying to live for tomorrow and in the future. And we keep going back to the past and bringing that up. And so I went through a lot of the same things that you did. And finally, where I was, and I just recently too, I think that there were times that I don't realize that I had been very abrasive toward other people. I thought it was just anxiety. I thought it was stress and anxiety, and that's why I got all, but I don't get that way anymore. Nothing changed in my life except for my identity, for who I am. And now I know who I am and my truth and what I want. And that is the most beautiful thing, isn't it? It's like you don't need anything in your life. You just look around and you see this beauty in everything and everyone. Today, I was just in awe of the sky. The sky is beautiful. Look at these clouds. Look at this blue sky. Like, if we can't just really be appreciative and grateful of every single thing in our life, and that's what happens when you wake up. Would you say? Did I explain? I don't know.
Yeah, you did. You did that beautifully. But the thing that I do want to say from my experience, because fear and anxiety was normalized within me vibrationally as I was growing up, because that was my environment. My environment was hostility, fighting, like all of that. That was just a normal thing. Another normal feeling, which was in our home, was also jealousy. That was common, right? There was never a time where it was like, so say someone in our house would buy a house, someone in one of our family members would buy a house or whatever. Most people would be like, oh, congratulations. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. In our household, it wasn't like that. It was, oh, well, how much did that cost? Or the thinking would be, oh, who do you think you are? Do you know what I mean? It was just, those were that was normalized within my household. And I can remember even being in like my 20s and that, right? And I would just kind of look at all these other different families. And I used to be so jealous of them because I wanted that so deeply within my life, right? But I look at the contrast. My life was the contrast. I see that now, where now I've created such the beauty within that. So I look at the way my upbringing was and all of that, and it was just like, it was perfectly set there for me. I don't look at my past like I'm embarrassed or I'm upset or there's judgment or there's anger towards any of my family members, because I can look with them with compassion and with love, because those feelings that they were going through back then and still are now, I understand. I get that because I've been there. But I can also understand that and have compassion towards all of my past, is because I've accepted those things within inside me. And that's why I can go forward within my life as well. That's why I can have forgiveness towards, my abuser. I can have forgiveness towards my mother, because I blamed my mother for many, many years because I didn't feel that she was protecting me. I felt that, there wasn't the love and all of that I needed. I didn't feel the protection. I didn't feel the safety. But I needed to look at my life to where it was, to where it is now. And I understand that I went through all of that to get me to where I am now. And now my life, I know what my life purpose is. I know that I had to go through all of that to experience those things so I could talk to people that are experiencing those things right now, and to help them and guide them, for them to have forgiveness so then they can go on and better themselves within their lives.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Right. And here's the thing that I want to say about that is that, because I've mentioned something about this. Now, you and I we definitely have been on the same path. So we we went through this, and then we're like, oh, we want to help others. We have to help others. We know this is our purpose. Now, listen, here's the thing. We want to help you. We are here. We have done the work. We have been through this. But some people are, I've had someone mention that I don't want to dig that back up. I don't want to dig. So there must have been something there. And they're like, look, I don't know if I can do it because I don't want to dig it up. And I'm like, okay, look, you don't have to stay there. Okay, we are talking about it and discussing it because we do want others to see that and maybe recognize something in their lives that we are willing to put ourselves out there. Okay, let me say that, for the goodness of others. But because we are here as coaches and mentors, doesn't mean that everyone else has to come on and give their whole life story. We are here to say, we're here to help, right?
And I got to say regarding that, because people have said to me, why are you talking about your past? Well, number one, I needed to talk about my past because I had suppressed it for so many years. With me suppressing it, what ended up happening? I ended up having flashbacks.
Yeah.
I had flashbacks of my childhood. So what came out of that was I was literally going insane. So I woke up that one morning and I started having all these flashbacks. So I didn't know whether or not they were real. So, and I couldn't tell anybody because I didn't know whether or not they were real. Okay. Yeah. So then what ends up happening is, you know, I'm trying to numb my pain. So what do? I start drinking alcohol.
Right.
Now it got so bad with me. Like I'm 120 pounds and I'm 5'1.5". It got to the point with me that I was actually drinking 6 bottles of wine a day. It was getting that bad because I didn't want to have those waking hours, because what was happening is all I was doing was having these flashbacks. I was literally going insane.
Yeah. But
so that was why I needed to start to speak my truth. I needed to start speaking truth and I had to heal. And that was me healing.
And there's a lot of people going through what you went through.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
But would say, well, that's normal, or that's, you know, not, you know, I'm people that do drink all the time or that drink to numb the pain and all of these things. Like, that is not normal.
That's not normal. It is not normal. Like, I just look at so many things within my life, like even like, you know, there were so many things were not normal. But of course, if you're in that situation, you don't know that it's normal or not, right? But because that is your normal. That becomes your normal.
Right. Right. If the people around you are, and that was, you know, I mean, I still will drink occasionally. I don't like it. Still, I don't feel well when I do, you know, so I don't much. But I was also hanging around, you know, a lot of people that did. I mean, that's just what we did. We hung out and we drank and we this and that. And
I don't pass judgment towards people that drink.
Exactly. Right.
You know what? That's your life. But for me personally, well, obviously I'm not drinking at all anymore, right? And I'm an advocate for sobriety, 100% am I an advocate. To be from where I was to where I am now, and I literally and totally embrace my life, I just think, oh my gosh, like to have the clarity, like, and love life in every single aspect. Why would I want to poison my body with alcohol? Because that's exactly what alcohol is. It's poison. You know, it's causing so many different diseases out there and ailments within people's bodies. I don't want to be waking up with a hangover anymore. Like I can go on and on and on regarding alcohol, right? But, you know, that's people's choice. I would rather enjoy life, wake up, experience, go to concerts, whatever, and actually enjoy it. Feel the joy instead of numb the joy.
And remember it.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
Don't you feel like too, okay, a couple of things. So, I had a lot of medical issues. Now, let me tell you, how is it that years ago I could I could list all of the things that I had. Shoot. And, kidney stones. I had a huge fibroid tumor. I had to have a hysterectomy. I had this, that. I mean, all of these things. Now, ever since, which I think diet is part of it, but I'm going to tell you something, when you get into this and you start taking care of yourself mentally, I don't go to the doctor. I haven't had any issues. And it's totally changed my health just because of the way that I think and the way that I think about myself. And I say, I am healthy. We'll talk more about this too, about affirmations and all that. But it was the identity that I gave myself. I said, I'm healthy. I feel freaking amazing. And do you know what? That's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened to me too. Absolutely. Yeah. Because once I started to shed all of those ill will feelings within me and the resentments that I had stuffed down for all of those years, once I started to set healthy boundaries, and I only allowed people around me that I knew truly loved me and that I loved, and just embraced life for what it was. Man, let me tell you, at my worst point in my life, 4 years ago or whatever, I was 188 pounds. I was 188 pounds. Like, I was a chunky monkey. And me being 5'1" and a half. Yeah. And then just as soon as I started to, be truthful with who I was, and like I said, set those healthy boundaries, get rid of every toxin. And I mean every toxin within my life. Like, I'm talking about people, places, things, you name it, they were gone. Then I started to shed my weight, and I didn't do any more of these fix me things. I was no longer going on diets or anything anymore. I just started to accept me and love me for who I was. Then it started to shed. Another thing too is my skin started to change. Like, I feel way better now than I have ever felt in my entire life. And I get it all the time from people. God, what do you do to your skin? And you know what? This is called happiness. And I embrace that.
Right.
I look way younger now than what I did even 5 years ago. And people tell me that all the time. Wherever I go, people are like, you look so happy. And you know what? It's because I am totally and happy with who I am.
Yes. And it was this, it's that inside. It's not that we're doing things on the outside. It's not that we're getting facials all the time and this and that and whatever. It's not that. It's that it's healing from the inside. And when you do that, all of your outside changes, and it's everything about you.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the same thing.
And people will say, so we're talking about the identity topic here, right?
Yes.
And people are thinking, okay, so how do you change your identity? And I'm gonna tell you what I did for me to change my identity. So that morning when I woke up and I could really see my life clearly, and it was kind of like, who does Shannan Mondor want to be? And it wasn't something that, I automatically came up with. It was something that I really, really had to sit with myself. And I did have a pen and paper, I will admit that. And that was so important to me because I could visually see on my paper what I wanted to be. But I also had to look also at what I did not want to be anymore. Because as I was writing down the person that I wanted to be, yes, you know what? I wanted to be confident. I wanted to be strong. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to give love, but I also had to face those truths of who I was as well, because I wasn't a nice person either. So I had to also go through that list of things of the person that I did not like.
Yeah.
And it was that list too, that I could actually really see that. And it was, that abusive aspect of me, or that alcoholic part of me. I had to embrace that as well too. And I had to accept that. But then from there, once I could see it on that piece of paper of what I was at that moment in time, right? So, there was the list up top, who I am right now, who I view myself right now. Then there was the line. Then
Yeah.
there was, who does Shannan want to be?
Yeah.
And that was where I put, I want to be confident. I want to be strong. I want to be loved. I want to give love. I want to be a mentor. I want to be a mother. So I had put that list of everything that I wanted to be. Then from there, I started to feel, I had to visualize in my mind of who I really wanted to be. And from there was when I could actually start to feel it. I wanted to feel what it would feel like to be loved, like truly loved, right? I wanted to feel what it was feel like to be a good mom, right?
Yeah.
And from there, then I started to slowly grow in. And it's not something that you do automatically. You don't. It takes days, it takes weeks, it takes months, it takes years, because I am still growing into that person. And I will always continue to grow into that person. And there's something else that's going to come along, right? Now I'm growing into that coach that I am. Now I'm growing into that public speaker.
Yeah.
Right? There's always something. There's a new platform that's coming up to me. I'm growing into now to this host with you, the gold giver host. There's so much more that I'm growing into. You never ever stop growing.
Right.
Never stop growing.
Never.
Never, ever, ever. And that's one thing that I tell myself, and I tell all those people around me. You never want to be the smartest person in the room either. I do not want to be the smartest person in the room ever, 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 because I know that there's always an expansion within me, and I want to get to that higher level. I want to learn more. I want to learn more. I want to grow more, because whatever I learn from someone above me, someone is going to come to me to learn those things off of me as well. And that's so, so important. That's so important.
That's so good, because it took me the longest time at first when I, first started filling out, like, who am I and what do I want? I thought, I don't know. I really don't know that. And that still can change as we grow and evolve. And I also intend on continuing to grow the rest of my life. I want to be a better person. And what happens is that, because I notice the things that I do, and I notice that I don't get, let me tell you what, my poor kids, oh, I just love my kids to death. But I tell them, when they were young, if they would have spilled something or this or that, I probably freaked out. There were probably times, it was ridiculous. And now I notice I am not reacting like I used to. I'm not like freaking out. I'm at this calm, and I wrote this down. And it was one of the things, I want to be calm and confident, and, a better listener and a better communicator. And this is something that I work on every day, and I have got so much better. And when your kids see that, and your friends and your family and people around that, they're like, wow, you've really changed. I can see it. Like, what are you doing? And that's what people want to know. This whole change of identity. And anyone can do this.
Yeah, anybody can absolutely do it. And when you're in that state of, the transition of coming into that new identity that you've chosen to be, that also keeps you in the number one state, the state of allowing, right? But that also continuously keeps you in the state of being in the present moment. Because I also look at my end result, Shannan, I'm going to say, my end result, Shannan, right? The ultimate Shannan that I want to be. I will also think to myself, whether it's a situation or a conversation or a topic or something I buy, whatever it is, it's always like, would that end result Shannan actually accept this? Would this end result Shannan buy this? Would this end result Shannan put herself in this situation? Would this end result Shannan feel like this? Right? Would this end result Shannan allow this into her life? Would this, and there's so many things, you know, and I think like that all the time, all the time. Would this end result Shannan? Question mark. Yes, she would. No, she wouldn't. Out of here. You know, that's how I look at life now, right? Because I want to get to that higher level. I want to be that person that I decided that I wanted to be.
Yes. And the biggest thing was taking responsibility for who you are today, everything around you, everything, who you are, how you speak, what you think, everything. You have to take responsibility and don't blame anyone else.
No.
If you are not happy with yourself and what you're surrounded by, you are the only one that can change that. You can't, and if you're dating someone else, or if you're married or whatever, you can't want them to change. Okay. It has to be you.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yes.
And it has to be. And what we have done, we both have done this, and we have done it the right way. And our lives will never be the same. And it's so beautiful. And so we want everyone to know that. But it's basically just taking a look. Are you happy? Are you happy with the way you're living and who you are and how you feel? Because if not, you're the only one that can change it.
And that's true. You are the only one that changes it. And another thing I want everybody to know out there too is whatever you feel with on the inside, it's all around you. You're attracting whatever's around you on the outside. So if you're looking at your life, if you're sitting here right now and you're looking at all of the chaos that's happening with everything around you, where do you think that's coming from? That's coming from inside you, because we are vibrational beings. We live in a world of energy and vibration. So whatever you're putting out into the world, law of vibration is the primary law. So whatever you are vibrating out into the world, that's what you're seeing just outside around you. Like I look at my life, man, I'm telling you, I love everything about my life. In my life, I've got absolutely everything that I want. And there is more and more things coming, just amazing things coming. I can feel it because that's the vibration that I'm feeling within and I'm putting out. But let me tell you, when I was in my state of addiction, there was so much hate, anger, resentment, just stuffed in there for all those years, right? And I look at my life around, right? I was a people pleaser. I would conform to what everybody says. I didn't know who I was. You know, a lot of people thought my life was just grand. It was so far from it. You know, I look at my relationships with people, not good, right? There was always chaos. There was always something going on. I was drinking. There was fighting around me. There was all of that around me, right? Financial struggles all the time, right? That was what's happening on the outside of me. Where was it coming from? Because of what I was feeling on the inside. People, you need to take a look at your life, right? It's not anybody else's problem. It's your problem because you're not solving what's happening on the inside, right? You have to have that feeling.
Exactly. And that's why I said, I woke up that day, well, in 2018 and said, how did I attract, how am this person into my life? Because I had so much hatred inside myself. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like, I mean, it was awful. But think about it. That's how I attracted this person into my life, because that's what I was feeling. And now, once I changed that and took a step back and said, hold on, just hold on here. Let's just take, you know, I think I need to just step back. And once I did that, everything in my life changed.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think at this time too, like, you know, audience members are out there probably thinking, okay, I want to get a little bit more in depth on this. And so when
Yeah.
This recording is done. The live is done. What we're going to do is we're going to put our information in the comments, right? If you want to book a one-on-one consult with either one of us, absolutely go right ahead. The information is going to be there. Another thing too is what else? What else can we do here? Well, I'm doing a big live event from September 14th to 16th that you can register for as well. So I'm going to go more into identity and all of that also. I'm going to be putting that information on the comments as well. Plus also, Roberta, your website, everything, all the information will be there.
I'll put my website in there. It's I have a
absolutely.
few more weeks here.
Or whatever information you.
But yeah. So you guys can reach out, and you know, some people will resonate with you more, and some people will resonate with me. And it's funny because also one of the things that we know now, and two, is that our life, we're not in competition with anyone. We are here supporting each other. And yes, we're both coaches, and we are supporting each other because that it's beautiful. Like it's just so, isn't it so beautiful that way?
Beautiful, because you know, our main focus in this world is we're brought on this earth to create, right? Create in so many different areas of our lives. And one of my biggest creations that I want to have happen is to create people to have an amazing, beautiful life. And I am the vessel, and I know that to help people get to where you want to be because of all my experiences that I went through, you know. And there is, we have got a life of abundance. You know, we've got a life of love, you know, like I just look at you, Roberta, and I just think you are the most amazing person ever. And, you know, we're brought together for a specific reason. And I know that, you know, and you know, like we've just conformed and we've meshed and we've built this friendship that's going to continue, and we're going places in life. And it's just all about a celebration, right? It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's so beautiful. We've been on the same journey. We've had the same amazing mentors. So we've been through the same programs. We've been through the same journey, but we're still different in our way of how people feel, you know, a connection to someone. So, but yeah, we're being called to do this. We're putting ourselves out here. We want to be considerate of everyone's time too. And so we're going to do this as often as we can. And we're going to take one step at a time and try to close it here, you know, soon, so that we don't keep you too long. And we wanted to give you a taste and tell you our stories so that you see where we were and where we are today.
Right. Exactly. And you know what? I had such an amazing time. This was fun. Like I said, if anybody wants to reach out, connect with any of us, absolutely would love to give you that time and just to help further and better you in life. So I think it's just time that we're going to sign off now. And I just want to say blessings to everybody out there. This was great. This was great. And we will be doing one next Tuesday as well, I do believe. Right, Roberta?
Oh, I think so.
I think so. But yeah, just to let the audience know, we will be doing Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m.
Very good time.
2 p.m. Mountain Standard. We're going to hit almost every Tuesday unless there's something that pops up or whatever, but it will always be advertised, so you can start to get to know our faces a little bit more. And we're going to be talking about different topics. You know, I think the next one we're thinking about, you know, self-awareness, how the importance of that. And then, we're just going to continue on teaching people.
Beautiful. Well,
okay.
Thank you for getting us on here today, Shannon. Appreciate it.
So we're going to sign off now. Okay. Have a lovely, lovely day, everybody, and evening wherever you are. Okay. Blessings to all.
Bye-bye. Thank you.